Hello Virgo, welcome back to my channel. I am Mariana and I will do the vibes inside for you today. So if you're new to my channel, thank you so much for being here. Well, I read about transformation. I want to say I read about inner transformation, inner spiritual journey, like the battles with the ego voice, something like that, overcoming something that may have been difficult. So if you find yourself on a path of inner healing or spiritual growth, somehow maybe you will find something in these readings. They are general. So maybe the reading is for you, maybe it isn't. Just throw it out then. That's quite all right. But only take what resonates. Don't make the reading fit. If it doesn't fit, it's not yours somehow, right? Sometimes I feel like I get many messages about a particular situation, so maybe I tap into more than one person somehow. You may reverse the characters and so on, if that applies. If you're returning to my channel, thank you so much for your support. If you like what I do, please click the notification bell and hit the like button. That will help my channel grow. Okay. I have the orange color on the table today. But I actually wanted to put in the pink also. The pink here as well. Which is about the heart chakra. I just have the feeling that there's something from the sacral chakra perhaps that is still in healing mode somehow, still is looked at or considered. Sacral chakra is about, well, creativity. It's about the womb, so it's a life creator, you could say, energy as well. It creates life in something. Maybe you are creating life in something or restoring life in something. The child is created in the womb, so there's something about, I feel like it comes across, and with Virgo energy, I feel it fits. It comes across as like the holy womb. That something is very sacred here, or should be very sacred here, and that it's yeah, it should be. Why am I saying it should be? It should be sacred. Maybe you feel like it wasn't for you, or it isn't sacred for you. That's something I don't know, that it somehow became unsacred or non-sacred. That something can make it non-sacred, or did make it non-sacred. It comes across almost like that something feels non-sacred, and therefore having a hard time accepting it. It could be something you have done. It could be something someone did. But I read the vibes inside, so I see it as an internal process, right? That a part of you perhaps is, you don't see it as sacred, or others didn't see it as sacred and influenced you somehow in your view about yourself. We could say that our shadow side, is sometimes something we don't like, right? We don't want it to come to the forefront. It wasn't appreciated, it wasn't liked, it was maybe you were punished for it, right? So we hide it somehow. The shadow is usually something we don't want people to see. This can be the side of you that you don't want to engage with, or it feels unsacred somehow. But it's because how I see this is that it's almost like it was forced, because I used the word unsacred instead of using the word evil or bad. So it's a feeling. The feeling I connect with is the feeling that something is unsacred or non-sacred. But the origin, I feel like, was not. It was sacred. The origin, or the original one, was sacred. Beautiful, light, graceful, whatever you may call it. But something has turned into something else, or was turned into something else. And it influenced something in you. It influenced the life in you, maybe, or your ability to conceive, your ability to hold life, your ability to be graceful, maybe. I don't know if there's a link to like the Virgo being the virgin, this idea that, well, the first time a virgin has sex, she is no longer a virgin. And that can somehow not be redone. It cannot be. So if that's the sense of being unsacred as opposed to sacred, could be this idea that that's the line in the sand, right? If you go there, you are unsacred. You are no longer part of the sacred group, or the pure group, or whatever we may call it. But there's something that I feel, I don't know if it was forced or it, but there's something about that it's an unsacredness, an action, maybe something that was unsacred, and because of that, it's denied. So either you don't want to look at it, you're like pushing it away, or you if you look at it, you really feel bad, right? If you actually like look at it, it makes you feel really bad, or it makes you feel maybe some emotions stir up, right? This is also about sexuality. There could be something about sexuality that is non-sacred or viewed as such. But that's just, I'm not saying what's sacred or not for you. I'm saying that this can be an internal process in you, that you view something, or you have been taught, programmed, you grew up in a certain religious belief, perhaps. And in that belief, this over here is a no-go. This is like unsacred. This is could be a fetish, right? It could be something that is not regarded as pure, you could say. And therefore, I'd rather kind of push it aside because I can't have this in my identity. My identity doesn't allow for this to be there, so therefore I shove it aside, right? Like the shadow. I hope you get what I mean about this, right? That's what I'm tapping into. I feel like someone is... I get the feeling you're confronted with it. You figured it out, or you see something. This can sometimes also be seen in another person, or something that happens around you. Because what goes on within sometimes is also reflected on the outside. We say, as within, so without, as above, so below. So there's something about what you're going through internally can sometimes be reflected in the outside. So maybe you, let's say you try to shove this away, whatever it is, and you open a newspaper and there is some kind of article about something happened to a young girl or a boy or something. So now it's kind of in your face, even if you want to shove it away. Or let's say this is about, if this is about sexuality, we may say that in some religious beliefs or in some cultures, maybe homosexuality is not, that is regarded as maybe unsacred. And therefore, my identity cannot be that, right? I cannot allow myself to identify with being gay, perhaps, because if I do so, I am doing something unsacred. Maybe my family or my church believes this, but maybe what if I also do? What if I trust in the Bible, or I trust in some other religious belief system? And when I do that, it is stated that this is unsacred. But I feel a stronger and stronger urge towards maybe, or a stronger unhappiness with the idea of being heterosexual, with the idea that I have to be married to a man if I'm a woman, but actually I would rather prefer to marry a woman. Then this is regarded as unsacred. Not only in my family where I grew up, not only in my church, not only according to the book, but also in me. I feel some kind of resistance. That's what I'm talking about. It's not just the outside world telling you something, it's also something inside you that is not in coherence somehow. There's something, that's what I feel like. I hope you get the difference. So this is not just something you have, well, both, right? The church alone, if it's a religious thing here, the church alone, the teachings of the book, the entire culture there prescribes something, some kind of behavior. And you could say that you wouldn't have known this unless you had the parents you had, who took you to that church, who got you to talk to that priest, where you find some kind of community. If you grew up in an entirely different family, maybe this would have been different. So the disconnect or the lack of coherence that you feel inside comes still with what you have learned out here. And what kind of book you gave your heart to, or what kind of book you devoted yourself to, what kind of teaching was that? And maybe that can be the idea of unsacred again. Maybe you grew up in a Catholic community, but you find yourself becoming more and more unsacred by thinking that maybe you don't belong there, that maybe you belong in a Buddhistic belief system or church, right? Do you get my point? It's like I've been something, and for a while it seemed sacred for me. Once it was sacred, but now it's like it's not. So something I did once, I found sacred. It was regarded as sacred, or the intention behind it was sacred. But now, because I'm questioning something, when I do this, it's almost like it becomes unsacred, because I may do the exact same ritual, I may do it with the same kind of intentions, but something feels off about it. It's like something doesn't add up anymore. And because it doesn't add up, it gives a feeling of I'm not acting in integrity anymore with this belief system. Therefore, I'm actually doing something unsacred in regards to my own, maybe sexuality, in regards to my body, perhaps in regards to my creativity, in regard to my love for life, perhaps, or the things I want to create, the things I'm involved in, the community that I'm involved in. Maybe it's like it's no longer, and that's why I feel like this, it's like maybe at some point it felt very aligned with you. And now it's almost like you see some flaws with it, or you have recognized something you did once perhaps, or believed in once, and you loved it, and you cared for it, and you put a lot of intention into it. It is somehow not the same anymore. Now you realize something else here about it. It's like shifting gear or choosing another path, but doing that making that shift is not necessarily that easy, because you did have, as I said, you did have a lot of heart in it once. But I want to say this is pink. And there are two colors connected with the heart chakra. The green and the pink, or baby light red here. This color, in my book, comes with a sense of a crush, a sense of being in love, being like rosy colored glasses. Everything is beautiful, everything is sacred, maybe everything just seems great and fine and beautiful. Whether this is a person or where you grew up, your the idea of yourself, your identity, that you saw yourself like this, very connected to source, maybe very connected to love, but almost love in the sense of being hyperly in love with something. We could say that there could be fantasy here, overly romance here as well. Whereas the green color for me is a more practical, everyday commitment to love and yourself and the things you love in life, your work perhaps, or something, but something that it needs a steady, everyday commitment to something. This can be this elusive, quick incoming kind of romance feeling, where everything is bluntly good. Everything is regarded as perfect, right? Where the green color, we know that it's not always that perfect. We have to make it more earthy, right? We have to see it in the long term. We have regarded that, we have figured out that the ideal sense of connection or oneness, sometimes it's not going that way, right? We say sometimes that people in love act like they are crazy, right? Because they do stuff that is, and they do it because they are so linked together, because everything feels so perfect that nothing could harm them, nothing could go wrong. That's the rose-coloredness of it, that the chemicals in the brain that are released. But sometimes we also say when the honeymoon is over and we actually get to see the person in everyday life, we figure out that, well, maybe it's not that perfect, right? I get almost a feeling like a fantasy is broken and you figured out how messy it actually was. That something that looked very, very good, it was presented very good. You grew up in it maybe, but it was kind of a bubble or a fantasy or something. And now you kind of see something else here. You see that there's, as I said, something was sacred once, but now it's like it's not the same thing for you. It's not the same thing anymore. It's not, it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't, actually it could feel more like alarm bells ring when you get in touch with whatever this was once. Maybe you feel like your body is reacting, right? Maybe you feel, or you have realized that something wasn't, it wasn't perfect and sacred, right? It wasn't perfect and sacred. It actually was something else. It was unsacred. It wasn't right for you, right? That's what I feel like. It could even be that in this idealization phase here of something, that in this idealization phase or perfectness illusion maybe, you did something. You allowed for something to happen. You made decision in this. When you were like, when this was kind of your bubble or your identity, or how you viewed the world about something, you did something here. But it didn't feel off, right? It felt okay when you were here. But now it's like, it doesn't feel like that. It actually feels unsacred, like you are now in a different place. And some of the things that may have happened, as I said, maybe again, it could be the feeling that at once it felt sacred. Maybe you got married in this period of time to someone, and it felt so good, right? It felt so sacred, it felt right. They said all the right things, the bubble was perfect, the idealization was there, everything was just great. But now it's like it's not. Actually, you figured out there's nothing sacred about this at all. There was nothing sacred about this. This was not what I thought it was. But once it felt like it, and I identified with it, I truly identified with it. It was my world, it was everything I lived and breathed, and it felt so right and great at that time, but now it's like it just doesn't. Okay, overall energy for you, I get Knot of Isis. It says energetic stabilization with the buckle of the beloved. Energetic stabilization with the buckle of the beloved. I even have like the red orange color here. Knot of Isis. I just get the feeling of like tying a knot, making a knot. Why do we do that, right? It's because we want something to hold its position there. Did someone try to hold you in a certain position? Did you try to hold someone in a certain position? Like, holding, tying up, because we want it to stick there. If we tie two ends together, it's like it becomes combined or connected. I get the feeling of something about maybe a marriage where two individuals become, like the marriage allows them now to become one, you could say, or they become family now. It could be the feeling that, as I said, that at one point maybe you got married to someone, or you were in love with someone, and it felt like the two different ties were bound together or tied together like a knot, right? Isn't there even a saying about that? When people get married, you tie the knot or something. Like we tie them together or bind them together somehow in the holy matrimony of marriage. And that should be a good thing, right? It should be a positive, good choice. But somehow I just, energetic stabilization with the buckle of the beloved. I don't want to get the book on this one. But that's what I get. I get the feeling of, again, like there's the mirroring of these sides of each other. Like there are two that is somehow becoming one now. The two becomes one with the knot, right? It becomes one, but it was two at some point. But the knot tied them together, and this tying together should be a sacred, good thing. But there is something where I feel like there is a sense of that something is unsacred about it. It could be the sex within the marriage, right? That feels maybe not what you expected or something like that. So the knot of Isis, each initiate has their own unique spiritual blueprint with particular skills, talents, and higher destinies unfolding that use their unique attributes. Part of your spiritual blueprint is a special relationship to the energies of the goddess. This means that not only do you have the important spiritual task of helping her thrive in this world, but you are afforded her power, protection, and abundance too. You are now deepening your connection to her. Well, in that case, I feel like it comes across almost like a devotion to something. Becoming devoted to something or someone. The beloved can be a person, of course. It could be like a spiritual, as I said, maybe you are changing, or you changed at one point. You changed from one set of religion, maybe some kind of identity here. You change from that into another, right? And maybe you did that because this seemed to be unholy or unsacred at some point, or the other way around, that you came from this, something happened that forced you into this, and this has now become the feeling of unsacred, and the connection with some kind of divine beloved energy here. The knot with this could either bring you maybe back to something, or it brings you through a journey of healing. Where the knot of this, maybe it needs to be tied, or maybe it needs to be opened, depending on what this is for you. Because how I feel about it is that I don't think it is bad, but the one I'm reading for, who has an identity involved in this, they don't like it. Like, they don't like it. Somehow. But why is that? Is that because you grew up with something else? So this is new or different? And again, it may feel unholy or unsacred because you feel like you have to leave something else behind. Something you treasured, right? Something you treasured at some point. But if this doesn't feel right anymore, and the transition into this seems like you are a traitor, or you betray something you came from, right? That you are betraying you. That could be what it is, and therefore maybe you're shoving it aside because this becomes more and more apparent to you. But it becomes more and more apparent in your heart, perhaps this. But it may feel like you are a traitor, like leaving what I usually have been part of, and now taking up this is so different, and it feels unholy to me somehow. It feels like I'm on unsafe ground perhaps here, because this feels a little bit like now, well, these cards are about Isis, right? Maybe you grew up with a different belief system, so changing into believing in an ancient Egyptian goddess here would be a betrayal to the Catholic Church, right? That feeling that you are now entering something that is maybe your beloved, like maybe you really feel that this is in your heart, but doing that, tying that knot, may feel almost like commitment, that I need to commit myself or devote myself to this. And when I do that, it comes across as unsacred, like I'm doing something that is potentially unsacred to something else. You are under the spiritual guidance and protection of the divine feminine. Part of your high destiny this lifetime is to heal and flourish through the divine feminine in her many forms, especially in those forms that truly resonate and hold meaning for you. This healing will happen on your personal path and may well be part of the work that you offer in service to the world, which may be simply in how you live your life. This oracle brings special indication that your soul is braiding or twining with the divine feminine energies in a particular form. For some, that will be a specific goddess, and the energetic process will often be strong and deep. The initiate will feel as if they are integrating the part of this goddess that is not just in them, but is a part of their own consciousness. It is a deep, personal, spiritual, powerful, and beautiful growth experience for the soul. This process does not make you lose your individuality. If it is happening in a genuine way, you will not believe yourself to be the goddess in question. You will instead experience her as a part of your own being, and your being as a part of her. That could be it. Like you are. It's like something is changing, right? That you are changing something. And because you kind of merge with something, you have allowed yourself to open to some kind of transformation. So the merging could feel a bit strange maybe, but also good, I think. But there could still be these ego voices coming up and saying, is this actually good? What if I'm merging with the wrong thing, right? What if I'm merging with something that is not sacred? It could even be that that's what you're shoving away, like the unsacred you shove away, and you concentrate on the sacred divine feminine. So you're shoving something aside to open something else up, right? The unsacred could actually be this kind of bubble or illusion you may have lived in for a while, that you are shoving that aside. And you are now concentrating on figuring out maybe also what is sacred and what is not. And I'm not here to tell you that. That is your own inner personal transformation, your own inner personal guidance. But it seems like a feminine energy is here to to kind of come in and work with whomever I'm reading for here. The point is also that the unfamiliarity about this is that the feminine energy is very much about being, not necessarily about doing, constantly doing something. That's masculine. But we have always grown up in a world where doing is almost like a religion. We have to do something every day. We have to be productive, effective. We have to solve a problem. We have to help someone. We have to do something every day. But the feminine energy actually asks us sometimes to go a step backward, to rest, right? To be caring. If we do so much that we can't actually be true to our heart and be a giving, caring person, then you are corrupting yourself somehow. So the feminine asks us also to take the step backward and rest and become aligned with the heart. At the bottom of the deck, I get the flower of life. Okay, they're very beautiful here. Divine creativity and manifestation. Yeah, creativity here. Flower of life. I said something, didn't I? Something about, what was it? The life creator. I said something about that. If you scroll back, life creator. Life is created in the womb. Here we create ideas, new ideas, but we also create life, babies, right? Divine creativity and manifestation. The flower of life is also the beauty of life, right? It could be something about, because this is underlying, so this is like a deep underlying energy that is moving this. It's moving it. It wants something wants to flourish here. And for that to happen, you have to shove out everything that is unsacred, you could say, for you. You have to figure out what that is and kind of get it out of the system. It could be the feeling you are cleaning something, that you're cleaning something in your environment, in your life, in your body. Maybe you're detoxing your body. You realize something. And even at some point it felt good, right? You felt good with this. But it was maybe a crush, as I said, this feeling of momentarily being influenced by something, where you're not thinking straight. It just feels good, right? This is where you are restoring, you could say, you're restoring or reawakening something. The next card out is life restored here. So there's something about the phoenix rising, something like wanting something to flower here. Wanting something to flower, something to birth again, something to have an environment where something can truly grow. But from a very sacred point, not from an unsacred, but from a sacred. So here we could talk about your intentions. Sometimes people build companies because they want to earn a lot of money, but the products they make, they don't really care if people actually, if it's good for the bodies or not. They sell the candy anyway, right? Because it's business, you can earn money. But is that sacred to you? I get this feeling that whatever you want to create here has to come from a very sacred source, a sacred place within you. You want to, so the manifestation has to be from the place of the beloved. It has to be from a graceful place, I feel like here. Or at least maybe that's the new ideal that you're looking for. And maybe you realize that is easier said than done, that you have to shove away a lot of stuff here that actually is unsacred. There could be a lot of stuff that could, maybe there are business opportunities for you to take, right? Maybe you would like a long-term relationship with someone and have family, but you want them to choose you because of some of the same underlying beliefs that you have, right? You want them to choose you for the right reasons. The right intentions should be the blueprint. That should be the foundation. And everything that is not like that, kind of you're shoving that away somehow. Getting that out of the picture so that you're trying to build the foundation that you want to be there, full of life, right? That's what I feel like. And therefore you have to commit yourself to something. You commit yourself to, let's say, as I said, a diet, detoxing, if this is your body, maybe this is a relationship, maybe this is a pilgrimage, maybe you choose to go on this inner spiritual thing. You devote, this is a devotion to something, like you devote or you you devote yourself. You choose something and you devote yourself to go that way, because you believe that this is the right, like, choice to make if I want this to happen. If this is supposed to be my deep, authentic place of being, if this is my authenticity, then I have to, if I want this to flourish, without changing it, if this is like the sacred life, you could say, for you, then we sometimes have to make a certain sacrifice, maybe, or we have to make a certain choice to live like this. If I want my life to be like that, I have to commit myself to it. And in that process, I have to shove away something. Maybe friendships, maybe you choose not to go to the same church anymore as you used to. Maybe you defy something about your parents. Maybe you get yourself out of a bad marriage, or you choose different hobbies. You say no to maybe alcohol, drugs, or whatever. If this is a detox process, you get my point. It's like you're doing something here where you commit yourself to the idea of the beloved in you, right? Committing to something graceful and sacred in you. Whatever that is. But something that wants your attention, something that you feel you need to nourish. And you want to do it right. Not a half process. You want to be able to kind of get to the bottom of something and do it right. Even if it takes time, but you're still wanting to do that. And in that process, you have to clean up something, I feel like. That could be definitely what's going on here. So I'm shown 3 like that. Okay. At the bottom of the deck, I get the High Priestess. So this is interesting. That could be this one, right? Under two underlying energies here that wants to flourish. Maybe the High Priestess in you wants to flourish. That she is the one that is kind of driving something to the forefront here. The High Priestess is a highly, I want to say, well, spiritual, but or religious person. They stick to some teaching, and they perform rituals. They if this is more church-like, this is prayer, right? It's service to the church. Maybe it's devotion to those involved in that church, those who need help. Maybe if this is a more mysterious or spiritually oriented, this can be someone, I don't know, witch-like maybe. It could be someone who is devoted to as maybe a certain archangel or to God in some way. But performing the like rituals that kind of pray every day. They usually are quite psychic. I want to say they could be involved in some kind of mysticism. Doesn't have to be, but into something. We have the moon here, right? Very feminine also energy, how she's kind of floating here. Astral travel maybe. She's kind of looking dreamlike, how she just kind of lifts off into some kind of dream world or into mysticism, the hidden stuff. What's underneath the subconscious. This could be someone who's very good at tapping into other people's subconscious maybe. Or into her own subconscious. Astral travel, different timelines. There could be something about, again, how the idea of the divine feminine, she's almost naked here, right? This and light. There's a lightness to her, like she's lifting off, just floating into the air, almost like a fairy, or yeah, it could be someone who is into fairies, right? Something like that. Take that how it resonates for you, what makes sense. If you feel like this has been like an upcoming thing for you, that that you feel drawn to something. It could be someone working with crystals, as I said, angels, any kind of spiritual art, I want to say. But I see it as the feminine, like this is not so much about what you do, but it's more like what you are. That you are this feminine that has this a lot of flower of life here. Like she's very could even say fertile, right? We could say she could be quite fertile or very sensual maybe. Very it could be a way of dancing maybe. Expression, that could be something about expression, expressing a feminine art form maybe. I see her almost like also swimming in water, right? That could be something about like flying or lifting off in the air or swimming in water, like how you can make these slow movements in water, right? But it's like she's above water here, right? It could be that she has been down underwater, like maybe she hasn't been able to breathe, this one. Maybe she has been held underwater, like emotions of fear perhaps may have kept her under, like we didn't allow her to come up because we had fear. But because you have released that, she's coming up here to show herself. Like you could say a little seed that starts to flower or to grow into something more here. So we could see this as a tiny plant just starting to grow something. The first breath of something after she came up from the water. After being maybe held deliberately down there, maybe we have been hiding her, right? Maybe this one wasn't allowed where you grew up. Let's say this is a little witchy energy, and you grew up in a highly Orthodox Christian church. This one would not have been very popular. You probably had to shove her down and hide her, because she was not allowed to be there, therefore seen as unsacred or unholy. But I get the feeling she is probably part of you somehow. And therefore you are now in a process where you are merging with a divine feminine energy here. But it may feel wrong to do so, or it may feel like you betray what you come from, right? That you come from a different teaching maybe, and doing this new stuff here could feel like you betray something. But actually it could also be that when you do this, you become more and more in touch with the real you, the real happy you, right? The most ideal you somehow. But it may not be what your parents taught you, or it may not be what your church or community has kind of shown you was the right thing to do. I talk a lot about something like that in my reading, something about being taught something that was actually never in alignment with you. Maybe you were lied to, right? Maybe what they taught you were for their benefit and not for your benefit. It was easier to make you want the same thing. It was easier to maybe indoctrinate you into something than having you, allowing you to do whatever you wanted. Because if you did that, rumors would come, right? And they had to face that. So it was maybe easier for them to kind of just manipulate you or talk to you, teach you something, and hope you would adapt to it. Okay, let's have a look here. I want to start at the top here. I feel like it connects with the knot here. Ace of Swords. Yeah, this is a new truth or a new teaching, a new book. As I said, maybe you are literally now saying yes to some kind of teaching, yes to some kind of maybe not officially, like maybe you haven't told your parents yet, or a beloved, maybe you are married, maybe this is a time of being alone, right? So maybe the shoving away talks about you get divorced so that you can commit yourself to something else here. You, for instance, you commit yourself to your inner journey and what you find there. Who do you find in there? Who is she, this one? And to get there, you make an alliance with something. In this case, I read about from the Isis cards, but it could be any other deity, right? But I want to say it's a divine feminine. It could be Mary Magdalene, right? It could be the Virgin Mary. It could be Kuan Yin. It could be Isis here. But she is an Egyptian, ancient Egyptian queen. But the point is that it's a feminine energy here. That you are now devoting, I want to say, that you devoting yourself to a different truth, maybe a different book, a different religious book, a different way of seeing yourself, maybe, like it's like a different voice also. Swords energy is communication, throat chakra, but I see this also as identity, right? That what we say, what we teach others, what we speak is usually coming from a sense of identity, what we believe about ourselves, what we believe about the world, what we have been taught. And the Ace of Swords here is like a new voice, or a new way of living, a new choice, a new book to believe in or to live by, a different life choice. The sword can be used to cut something. As I said, you shove something away, you cut something out of your life that is, according to you, is unsacred. You do it so to cleanse something, because now you commit yourself to something else. And with this, I feel like there's no, you're not doubting anything here. This is one clear sword, like it is so clear to you that this is what you have to do, right? No argues here, no second guessing. This is like, I want to do this. Ace is typically about new beginnings, right? A new white dove, a new freshness, a new purity. If I go by this, if I follow this, I could have a new beginning, right? I could purify myself. I could re-establish the flower of life in me, or whatever this is. That kind of feeling that you want to commit yourself, devote yourself to something here, whatever that is for you. Next card, this is the center card. So this is always important because it relates to both cards here. So I have the Two of Pentacles here. This is interesting. Two of Pentacles is actually second guessing, you could say. You have two pentacles here, but what does that mean? It means that you have two choices. You can take and trust one of them here. Usually I see the pentacle cards as having doubt about something. Or you could say having doubt about what to do. What to do. There is this rainbow over him, right? Which one of these pentacles is going to give me the most, maybe, happiness? Even this ideal kind of rose-coloredness, right? The rose-coloredness of life. The sweetness of life, you could say. Which one is giving me that? But The Two of Pentacles can also talk about having too much on your plate, like you're juggling too much. Actually, I see it a little bit like that. Are you juggling more than one person, more than one job, more than one? Are you taking on too much, Virgo? Are you doing a two-man's job here? Because that's maybe not quite fair, is it? It could be the feeling that I have my ordinary life here that I have to take care of. I have to go to work, pay the bills, take care of the kids, make supper, get the groceries, and do the dishes and do the laundry, right? All this stuff. And then I'm doing my healing, where I'm now trying to commit myself to something new here. And that kind of feels a bit too much for me. Committing myself to something new here may feel like maybe that's what you want to do, but life is catching up with you somehow. Could be the feeling that maybe the ship has already sailed. Maybe I'm too late for something. It could be the feeling of playing at two horses at the same time for safety. That I don't know exactly what I'm going to get if I commit myself to this, so I still stay in my own line. As I said, maybe you still attend the family dinners, looking the same, saying the same as you used to, but actually underneath it you have a different voice now, or you're slowly committing to something different here. But they don't know that necessarily, right? Maybe you haven't said that. Maybe you haven't cut the ties to something. You still work in the same environment, or you still have the same friends. Or you haven't cut the ties entirely to something. And it feels maybe draining, right? That's also what I said about this feeling of being unholy or unsacred, that as long as you are not sure that you are on the right path, or that if you commit yourself to something here, what is this going to give me? Can I still pay my bills? Will I still be safe? There could be this feeling, but if I commit myself to her, is this just a dream? Is this just like a fantasy bubble? Is this just imaginary? And can she pay the bills, this one? Or is she just floating there, right? Can she pay the bills? Can she take care of the kids? Can she vacuum clean and whatever? If I fly away like her here, what is going to happen in my life then, right? Can I trust to just flow with her somehow? So again, this like an in-between, that you're merging something here. Your old you with a new you somehow, or something higher aspect of you. And doing that, you have the questions, right? The questions come, even though you have a quite clear understanding of what needs to happen, or what is your new truth here. That could still be the feeling that this is not that easy. I still have to pay the bills. I still have to take care of my kids, or I still have to... What about all the other stuff I wanted in my life, right? What about the travels? Or what about... I wanted luxury, maybe. I wanted glam. I wanted spotlight. What about that, right? So there are questions here that you have to figure out. Do they align with the new truth of something here? And if they don't align, you have to make some kind of change, right? And that's this choosing phase that you have. Can I from one life transfer something into another? The life I've already lived, can I somehow take that with me into a new life? And probably you can't. Like, probably you have to kind of get everything out that doesn't feel right to you. Next card out here, I get the Page of Pentacles. And this is the below, or the card at the bottom, and I think like this card belongs with the knot, then this one could have something to do with the flower of life here. So I have the Page of Pentacles. So the page is young. It can be a child. It can be your inner child. It can be a feeling that your inner child may need to feel very safe, with the pentacle here, a big pentacle, right? Pages can sometimes indicate the same as aces, a new beginning of something more safe here. Pentacles relate to stuff. It's tangible, usually. Sometimes I see this also as information, because information can give you access to education. Education can give you access to jobs and better wages and better salary, more money perhaps, and money pays the bills and so on, right? So in my case, sometimes a pentacle is given in form of information. It could be a gift, it could be money, but it's the feeling that someone, when I hold this, I feel safe, right? I feel that everything I need is at my disposal. I can buy it if I want to, or I have it already. I have a roof over my head, my money, my bills are paid. I'm safe here. I have what I need. And it's a big pentacle, so I'm quite safe for a long time here. So it could be that your inner child somehow needs the feeling of having a new sense of safety here, because she is, or he may be going through a change into someone like this. And to do that, that could be a bit scary maybe for a part of you, or it could be a child you have, right? That going through this process, we even have the peacock here, right? Going through a process where someone is changing feathers, maybe here can be difficult for maybe others in our life. Maybe you are triggered into some kind of like something from your childhood may come up about safety, maybe. It could be something with your child, as I said, or a child. Children as such. Because here he has two, right? It's like he has the one he has with him, when he was a child, and now there's an opportunity for something else with this one, walking this path. But it's like, which one? It could be the feeling that whatever this is, whether this was stable or not, whether this was good and solid or not, it kind of, can you bring it with you into the new life? Or maybe you don't want to bring it with you. If this was not very stable, or if this was actually too heavy to like hold for this one, maybe this talks about a child that was given too much of responsibility when they were young. They had to carry a lot of burdens, perhaps here, or a lot of responsibility. Maybe they had to work when they were children, before they were ready, right? Maybe they were involved in like matters of safety very young, and it felt like a very big coin to carry. So maybe this was not happy. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Most of us have lack mentality, so we usually haven't felt that this was easy to carry. Having childhood and being constantly reminded that we don't have food is not fun, right? That's not safe. So it could be that you are reminded about something and you are afraid that maybe this will happen again, that I take on too much, or what if I'm not safe? What if the new me or the new choice I want to make here is not giving me what I look for? What if this is just a fantasy? What if this is just a fantasy? Or even if I let her out here, look at her, how she's kind of just dreaming her way towards the sky here. She's almost naked. What if someone catches her? Does she even know how to fly? Has she been down there for so long? Can we have another card on this High Priestess, please? Because there is something very light and flowing and iridescent and some like very feminine, very free, but also I want to say unprotected somehow. She's kind of just flowing there. What if something catches her, right? She doesn't even look, right? She's all in her own world almost. Like she's not paying attention to what else is around her. Like she doesn't really care, or she doesn't know maybe that there is something else present, or there could be something else present. Can we have a card on this High Priestess, please? I see her as quite beautiful, right? Quite free, flowing, fluffy, light, sensual, relaxed also, relaxed and not on guard. She's just relaxing and open, you could say. Free flowing, open. I want to say trusting also, like a trusting energies that she can close her eyes here. She trusts that she is quite safe and that she can fly where she wants to fly, without any kind of interruption or anything. Can I have a card on this High Priestess, please? there is something about, I see like these bubbles here, like the bubbles here, and then the moon also kind of looks a little bit like a bubble, like air bubbles that come out of water, right? Small bubbles that come like from under the water and just rises up and can then poof, right? They bounce maybe, or they explode, or they are destroyed, but they can look a little bit like just tiny water bubbles. And she, like this floatingness, that it comes to the surface as these floating light water bubbles. Where as opposed to this one is very tangible and very oriented towards the safety of security of matter and food and stuff that is around you, things you can see, right, and hold. Where this one is, this is more elusive. It's untangible somehow. It can evaporate almost. It can fly away. It's and maybe there is this sense that, as I said, can this pay the bills? Is this something I can this hold me safe? Or is this just some kind of momentary feeling of lightness, but is it going to be there in the long run? Is this something that stays, or is it just flying away somehow? There's something about this that let's say you have been someone who never believed in religion, or you never had a connection with religion, and you are very matter-oriented. Work is the only thing that actually makes sense. This is how you get your money. You can't rely on anything else. But now it's this feeling, but what if there is a God, right? What if there is other help on the other side? What if there is a new beginning, a new truth, or a new way of living? And this one would be committing myself to that, committing myself to an easier life, or trusting in that, becoming open and receptive and floating with life. But there could be this feeling, but can I trust that? How is this going to somehow help me pay the bills, or take care of the money? How is this going to how can I manifest from this place what I need somehow? How can I do that? Interesting how the light kind of shines on this, right? Right on her. It could be, does it look like a fairy or something? Like something very elusive, light and elusive? Huh, interesting. It could come across as something very, you can't touch it. It's an ideology. It's philosophy. It's religion. It's not something you can touch. Yeah. It's almost like it's too much to deal with the ordinary life and the expectations of them, and now actually try to trust something that is kind of just in the air, or just something I believe in. It's just in my mind, or what if this turns out to not be right? It's almost like it's too much to deal with both, like having one way of thinking that is more maybe non-religious and very matter-oriented, and another way of living where you kind of try to incorporate this, but it may feel like it's a big task, like you are working two-man's job here, or that it's too much for you to handle somehow. Or like you are two different identities at the same time, two different truths, or two different handling, two different kind of information, or two different kind of belief systems. And both of them can maybe give you a sense of safety, or a sense of belonging to some kind of community maybe, and in the community finding safety. But at the same time, it's like having both is a big job to handle. And again, I feel like it's because you're in this merging process of something. So let's have a look at her, this High Priestess here. The karmic trench. Four of Scrolls. Well, this guy is a worker, right? He works in the field, and like a very I want to say handyman, right? He has no machinery here, so he's doing all the hard work himself here. There's work to be done over here, and this, it seems to maybe he has already done something here, and now he's working on this field here. The karmic trench. It's almost a feeling like when I say it's karmic here, it feels to me like it's almost like these are linked together, right? That you have been in this karmic wheel of living by tangible understanding. And by doing that and being very absorbed in hard work, she couldn't breathe, right? She was maybe like shoved aside, as I said. This was not part of the ideology at that point in time. She was shoved aside, or even, what's that called? Kind of forgotten about, or shoved aside or hidden. Because this was what you were focused on. Like it's like you have been in this karmic working wheel, kind of. I think in a worrying state, and maybe very absorbed in the tangible working life. Because if you didn't do this, she would bubble up to the surface and give you all kinds of ideas and messages. And to avoid that, maybe you threw yourself into hard work here, labor somehow, to hold on to this. Because this has been your teaching, perhaps, that we have to work hard to get the money. Money doesn't grow on trees, all this stuff. And now it's like you stand in the water here, right? You stand in the water now. You're not on the field anymore. You stand in the water and you kind of just, where will I find that happiness? Where can I find maybe a more glorious, more rainbow-like, how can I make my dreams come true and have enough money? How can I make everything, like blend the two of them? So instead of working in the field here, how can I somehow blend my the rainbow-like feeling? How can I blend that with my work life? Can I not earn money on romance, for instance? What if I want to become a romance writer? Can I somehow make money of, like, with the rainbow? Can I use the rainbow, the idea of the rainbow, what that represents, and earn money on it? Can I do that somehow? Maybe. So can I stand in the water here now, connecting with her, perhaps here, connecting with her in the water, and hear what she tells me, and then maybe create something that can give me money. But I use the idealism or the perfectness or the romance or whatever this is, or the colors. I use color blend maybe, and her inspiration to do something, instead of just working the field here, or working in the forest, or whatever this is, earthy element. What if I wanna fly away into something maybe more fantasy-like, away from this more hard work tendency. She wants to free herself from that kind of that hard work situation somehow. The karmic trench. In a field meant to be planted, a man, dirty from his efforts, stand knee-deep inside a long trench. The seeds wait to be planted, yet he continues to dig deeper and deeper. There are other rows plowed and ready for planting, but they are ignored. This card reveals a difficult pattern in your life, a pattern of self-defeating feelings, thoughts, and actions that you've brought forward from previous incarnations. You returned to this life with the intention of breaking this karmic pattern, but you got pulled into the old thoughts and behaviors. You've been digging yourself deeper into the karmic trench that gets harder and harder to escape. This pattern is not unknown to you. You recognize it in your relationships, in your job, and certainly in your beliefs, behaviors, and responses. It's time to take charge of your karma by altering the inner ideas, feelings, and patterns that cause you to make sabotaging choices. Every time you notice yourself making an old choice that dig you deeper into your karmic trench, you can change your mind and your action. This will require your conscious effort every step of the way. Without such work, you could go lifetimes burying yourself in the same feelings. But with your commitment to making changes every day, you can dig yourself out. Yeah, that's what I feel like. She wants to get out, this one. She wants to get out of that. She wants life to be easier, right? So that's the flowering of life here that wants to come to the surface. She wants to rise up as the phoenix and fly away. Or out of the trench, right? She wants release of the trench back into life instead of being in a seemingly self-sabotaging, digging deeper here feeling. That's what she wants. She wants to help you get there. But again, it may feel like you are betraying something. May feel like you really have to shed everything that is not sacred to you and get that away somehow. Commit yourself to a new way. As the card says, committing yourself to new choices, new belief systems, new ways of thinking to get out of that one. And in order to do so, you have to commit yourself to something here. Something that at one point, again, I feel like it felt great. It really felt great. But it was actually a sense of self-sabotage. It didn't bring you or give you what you hoped for. It may have looked good on the surface, shiny and everything, but actually it was not. At the bottom of the deck for this shuffle here, I get the Seven of Forces. This talks about balance. It seems like you are in a balancing process where you are figuring out how to shed something, a self-sabotaging way of maybe thinking, because the sword is here, that you need an entirely new way of thinking to balance something out, to make the new effort, the new choices. You need to know something different or choose to think differently about everything in your life, right? To balance out these scales here in your life. Life has been too much, right? You have been carrying too much here on your shoulders. And she's here somehow to... The Divine Feminine is here to somehow teach you to trust again, become open again, to trust in something that you can't see a tangible outcome of it. Maybe becoming vulnerable, not on purpose, but that's part of the trusting idea, right? If we trust something, we have to trust in it, right? Having to trust in the dove, having to trust in the thoughts and the beliefs here, in the guidance of something. Otherwise you stay the same, otherwise you are not changing anything, otherwise you're still here. And the balance will not be restored until you somehow figure out how to make different choices for yourself. And in that, you may need to say goodbye to everything that doesn't feel right to you. Even if it did at some point, then you still need to somehow do differently. Maybe you need to practice forgiveness for something. Also forgiving yourself for keep digging here, right? But sometimes the digging comes from not knowing what else to do. So we do what we normally do. But it seems like there is new knowledge here. I want to say divine. It comes in with like the feeling of the dove here, like a divine intuitive knowledge here that guides you somewhere else. So instead of doing the same stuff here, maybe you need to do something else. But I still feel like it comes with the feeling of devoting yourself to something. Taking it seriously also. Like taking yourself seriously here. Commanding yourself, you could say, or that you are worth it, right? That you are worth saving, or you are worth to be recognized, maybe, or you are worthy of being respected or loved here, right? That whatever you keep digging here is, or you had been you did dig it at one point. At one point you did dig this hole here, and getting out, you need new tools, right? You need new knowledge. You need the sword, perhaps, to cut something out of your life. You need help, for instance. Maybe you are asking for help here from a different place, right, than you normally would ask. Maybe you asked for a divine intervention because you don't know how to get yourself out of this. Whatever this is for you. Can we have an advice, please, for this situation for Virgo? So an advice card here from the Eyes of the Soul Oracle cards. So I get this card. It says, seek the advice, seek the wisdom of your shamanic guides. So here again we have that she is consulting spiritual or shamanic guides here. And that can be also very high priestess-like here. As I said, she could be into mysticism, into different arts of feminine power, spiritual power. It could be that you actually have shamanic powers here. If you don't know that, maybe you could consult a shaman to see if there is a message for you. Seek the wisdom of your shamanic guides. She sits with wolves here. There are many different animal guides. Wolves can be one of them, but there are many. If you feel yourself drawn to certain animals, there could be something with that going on for you. But again, shamanic powers, this is again going within, asking inwards. Maybe they are with you actually in some kind of form. Maybe you feel them. Maybe you can't see them, but you can feel them somehow. But again, the shamanic idea is totally different than growing up in a Catholic church, for instance. So that kind of practice could have been seen as unholy somehow, devilish, and therefore you couldn't connect with it at a certain point. But if this becomes a bigger and bigger feeling in you, right, that you somehow have a connection with something, then and this is a very deep connection with earth also, every earth being. I want to say, and the service of shamanic practitioners are very much related to the earth, guarding the earth. So I want to say that there could be something here that could help you. And when I say that, when I look at her, it could be the feeling of like astral travel, trance, which is also shamanic practice. It could be the feeling of like traveling between realms. Shamanic guides can go into the underworld. It could be that maybe you can talk with deceased loved ones. Maybe there's something you can hear that it would be some kind of relief for you to know or to get in touch with again. Because it seems like whatever you are doing, it's not taking you out of your hole here. It was a clarifier for her, but I just get the feeling that she's not, I don't see her as a bad thing. But it could also be the feeling of like she is a soul that leaves the body, right? That she's traveling back to the place where the soul came from, right? So this could be someone you lost. You lost this ability at some point, right? And looking for it, like digging deeper and deeper here is not going to bring her back. Maybe you need shamanic guides to connect with her again. At the bottom of the deck, I get seek a wise elder. I seek the wisdom of your shamanic guides and seek a wise elder. It seems like maybe you need to find some kind of practitioner, maybe, who has a lot of experience with something like this. A wise elder can be, of course, be someone in your family, but I want to say if they are not into other belief systems, maybe even shamanic, you probably won't have much guidance from them. I want to say you need to find someone who does. Somehow, when I see him, it comes across almost a little bit like a wise elder. For me, it could be divine guidance as well. But it could be a person also, someone who has like real openness and ability to listen and understand where you come from. This could be the feeling of, and when I say that with shamanic powers here, shamanic guides, it could be that this one is from the other side, that this is maybe an ancestor. And the way you can connect with them is through your guides or through some kind of healer here. Shamanic healer, perhaps, who can connect you with whoever this is or whatever this is. This can be this can be something within you that is actually very wise. And I hear different, it's different, wise and different. Maybe you need a different approach. Of course you need a different approach. You've done this for so long here. So you need someone who is able to see things with an open mind, I want to say. It could be a skilled physician somehow, maybe a psychiatrist or a psychologist, someone very skilled in maybe dealing with, if this is an addiction, maybe, right? If this is an addiction and you can't seem to get yourself away, we could even see this as someone well, getting high, right? Floating away for a while, becoming light and easy and everything for a while. Maybe this is an addiction. But every time you choose to like connect with her, it digs you deeper and deeper down here. So I don't know, I don't necessarily see her as an addiction, but I get the point of like the idea of life feeling a bit more easy. That life is wanting a life that is more dreamlike, maybe free, untied to something. Wanting that freedom, right? wanting to fly away here because something feels very stuck and overburdened here. But then the Four of Scrolls, I just feel like now I hear something like, it's all I know. Like, I don't know what else to do but work. I don't know what else to do but because this is this is everything I know. Then I want to say maybe it's just one tiny thing every day you do differently, right? Maybe just take one tiny step into something else. I want to say this is also maybe like allowing yourself to fly, allowing yourself to rest, allowing yourself to dream, right? Yeah, that could be it as well, like dream again. Allow for dreams to be part of your life. Where life is easy, where life is iridescent, or it's fluffy, it's flowing, it's open, it's free, it's giving, or receptive, a receptive energy. But that could be the dreaming part, right? So there could be something about dreaming, because whatever you have been doing is keeping you stuck in something. You need to do something else than working and working and working on something. You're doing too much here. You need more dreaming in your life. And this is maybe where you need to allow the light of whatever this is for you, of the feminine, to kind of shine on you, right? That something else for your lifestyle and your understanding of the world to change. You are the one doing it. The world doesn't change like that. You're the one who does it. Your way of thinking about your work, for instance, can be totally different if you shift the perspective and you allow for something, maybe a softer, a gentler approach to something. Maybe that's going to help you. The little dove here is a little beautiful little bird, but it's not an eagle, right? It's a soft little one. Maybe you need to soften something here. Go by a softer approach to life, as opposed to the hard worker here who needs to work every day and dig deeper and dig deeper and dig deeper. Because this is the only, I get the feeling this is the only thing I know. I don't know what else to do. This is what I've done all my life. I grew up with maybe a lot of responsibility, needing to keep the family safe. I needed to earn money very young, perhaps, right? I've been a farmer all my life, or I have been a hard worker all my life. I don't know what else to do, right? But there's this idea of letting life become easier somehow. As long as you do whatever you normally do, nothing will change about that. And it seems like you're doing too much. Like whatever you are trying to figure out here, it's like you're overdoing something here. It's not supposed to be that hard. When I look at him, it could be like when I look at him, it's like this elderly person who could be retired, right? And he sits on some kind of balcony and just watches over this beautiful landscape, breathing this fresh air and just maybe relaxing, or maybe he's traveling in a car, right? But it's this person who has been working, right? He has been giving to the community and whatever. Now he is used or in some kind of otium. He is relaxing, traveling maybe. He is enjoying the landscape, the freedom of this free travel, or non-commitment. There are no demands on him, right? Maybe talk to someone like that. What's that like not to work? What's that like not to what is he inspired by? What does he do if, as opposed to go out and work here in the garden or whatever this is, what is he doing? You could say he may be having fun actually. He's actually doing something that is not work related. Maybe it's pleasure related or peace related, just calmness and peace and relaxation. But maybe you need to talk to someone. It doesn't have to be a man, but need to talk to someone who can maybe help you somehow to figure out what this is. And then and also that it is okay. It is okay to do so. Life is not supposed to be about work all the time. I even said it with, what was it? One of these cards here. Something about only the way you live your life or something. Yeah. This healing will happen on your personal path and may well be part of the work that you offer in service to the world, which may be simply in how you live your life. So just how you live your life can be the offer in service to the world. Not that you constantly have to like produce something or dig something or plow something or something like that. It's just the way you live your life. These two could actually be one of a kind, that the shamanic guides here represent something that has to do with nature maybe. So these two could be the same, right? They could represent that they want you to have a look at something you may have not given much attention. It could be a reconnection with something you haven't regarded as useful, right? That's usually why we drop hobbies and so on. It's because it's not regarded as useful. It's not regarded as something we can earn money on. It's not regarded as a real job or something like that. or a good enough investment of our time. Therefore, we don't do it. Because we need to be effective in everything. We need to earn the money and so on. That's part of our living condition. To have this continuancy of money flow. But it seems to me a little bit like maybe there's something to be gained in something else. It could be that what you could gain is a peace of mind, right? It could be something like what truly matters in your life. Is it the new sports car? Is it the luxury travels? Maybe it is, I don't know. But you ask yourself that. Yeah, this is what I have for you, Virgo. I hope this helped you somehow this time around. I think it's beautiful that you want to commit yourself to something new. I don't know how you should do it, but I would say just one step at a time. Instead of forcing something or doing something very quickly, maybe just take it soft and gentle and just slowly approach something, right? That's what I feel like. I hope this helped you. Take very good care of yourself out there. I send you my very best. Love and light to you. Bye-bye.